and welcome to Finextra TV. I'm Hannah Wallace and we're here at Sibos 2019 in London. Kindly joining me now in the studio is Nick Armstrong, CEO of Identity, and we're talking about taking data out of the payment message and using blockchain to handle data differently. Hello Nick, thank you very much for joining us. It's lovely to see you again.
Thanks Hannah, you too. It's great to be back.
So as I've said, we're talking about taking data out of the payments message, but this is quite unusual considering we're at a Swift conference. To start off, could you tell us the thoughts behind that, please?
Certainly, Hannah. So the need for data continues to grow. We're seeing new regulations around the world, including the ISO 2022 migration, which is being driven by Swift. And all of these new regulations require more data for banks and their customers to understand what their transactions are for. The problem is that a lot of the underlying messages don't carry enough information. And so really what Identity is talking about is creating a parallel system for managing data in a secure and trusted way, which we think is really needed now. This is a new paradigm that we're entering into now.
All right, and how do you go about doing this? How do you separate data from the payments message?
Well, one way of doing that would be to create a central cloud Dropbox where all of the information that's associated with a transaction can be stored. The challenge with doing that is that it doesn't allow for permissioning of data at an attribute level. So what I mean by that is invoices, purchase orders, remittance information, all need to carry separate permissions with them. And so what Identity does is uses blockchain to create an information layer that sits over the top of the existing payment infrastructure like the Swift network. And we create a little unique identifier called a token that just goes into any type of payment message and allows that rich information layer to be linked to the underlying transaction. We know that the Rails do a really, really good job of moving settlement instructions around, but a poor job of carrying information, and that's why we look to create this information overlay that sits on top.
And what's the significance of it in this area?
Certainly. Well, tokenization is a simple concept, really. It's about creating a unique identifier that links to additional information, all of the rich information that Identity can link up to a transaction. The actual token itself is just a string of letters and numbers, so it doesn't mean anything to anyone unless you're actually running our application. The great thing about a token is that you can switch data on and off with the token. You can link up information post the transaction being settled, which is great if there's requests for information that go back to a customer. The other thing that the token can do is fit into any type of message that this information wouldn't fit into. So if you're a large corporate customer of a bank, you can use the token to re-enrich your payment with all of the remittance information to enable better accounts receivable reconciliation, less requests for information back to the bank. So it's a pretty simple concept, but there's a lot of deep technology under the hood.
And I think some interesting developments ahead then as well. Nick, as always, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you very much. I'll let you get back to the event.
Thanks, Hannah. Thank you.